treatment, like how to treat this bronchial asthma. So the very first drug that can be used for treating bronchial asthma is, yes, in asthma what will happen? Narrowing of the airways, because of which the person will be unable to breathe properly. So the very first thing that we can do is better to dilate the bronchioles. So the very first drug that we can use as a bronchodilator. So very first drug is a bronchodilators. So what these bronchodilators will do, they will dilate the bronchioles so that breathing can be very much easily done. Next, what else can we do for reducing this asthma attack? Yes. See, this condition is produced when leukotrienes acts on its receptor. Okay, so better to block this receptor. So we can use leukotriene antagonists. Okay, so second type of drug that can be used in the treatment of asthma is we can use leukotriene antagonists. What these leukotriene antagonists will do? These drug will prevent the binding of leukotrienes with its receptor so that there won't be any bronchoconstriction or any other symptoms of asthma produced. Another kind of drug that can be used is to inhibit this step, to inhibit the production of arachidonic acid, because from the arachidonic acid only leukotrienes is being produced. So to inhibit this step, so we have got a third category of drug known as corticosteroids. Corticosteroids. What these corticosteroids will do, it will inhibit the production of arachidonic acid, and if there is no arachidonic acid, there won't be any question of leukotrienes. So the third class of drug that can be used in the treatment of asthma is corticosteroids. Apart from this, another way by which we can prevent asthma is to stabilize this mast cells so that it cannot be easily broken down. So the fourth class of drug are mast cell stabilizers. Mast cell stabilizers. So what these mast cell stabilizers will do, they will increase the stability of the mast cells so that they cannot be easily broken down, and therefore it prevents the release of inflammatory mediators. So we have got mast cell stabilizers also. And then another kind of drug that can be used is to block these antibodies so that antigen will not be able to bind with these antibodies. So we have got anti-IgE antibody. So this is the fifth class of drug, anti-IgE antibody. Okay, so that these antibodies are unable to work properly. So these are the 5 types of drugs that can be used in the treatment of asthma. Now we'll see about these drugs a little bit one by one. So first of all, starting with bronchodilators, which is the first class of drug used in the treatment of asthma. So first of all, we have got bronchodilators. Bronchodilators means these are the drugs that will dilate the bronchioles. Now we know that these bronchioles have got 2 types of receptor. It have got both beta 2 receptor as well as muscarinic M3 receptor. When the adrenergic beta 2 receptor is getting activated, what will happen? It will cause dilation of the bronchioles. Similarly, when we block M3 receptor, it will also cause dilation of the bronchioles. So we want drugs such as beta 2 sympathomimetic agent as well as anticholinergic drugs, which can be used in the treatment of bronchial asthma. Now you see, on the wider area, on the larger bronchioles, we have got M3 receptor, whereas in the smaller bronchioles over here, we have got beta 2 receptors. So you can say on the bigger bronchioles we have got M3 receptor, and in the smaller airways we have got beta 2 receptor. Okay, so we can try Bronchodilators are of two types, that is beta-2 sympathomimetic drugs and anticholinergic drugs. So we'll write about these drugs. The first drug are beta-2 sympathomimetics that will cause directly action on the beta-2 receptor. So activation of beta-2 receptor will directly cause increase in the dilation or increase in the diameter of your bronchioles. So drugs coming under this class are salbutamol, terbutaline, salmeterol and formoterol. Okay. Now as you can see, these four drugs, the first two drugs are short acting, whereas these last two drugs are long acting. So if not to get confused, you can see here metro is there. Metro trains are longer trains. So by this you can remember salmeterol and formoterol are long acting, whereas salbutamol and terbutaline are short acting. Okay, short acting means they are fast acting and acting for a short duration of time. So you can use these two drugs in acute attacks of asthma, whereas salmeterol and formoterol, they are long acting, therefore it can be used for prophylaxis. Okay, now one more thing is S for salmeterol, S for slow, F for formoterol and F for fast. That means salmeterol is slow acting, means you consume the drug and the action will be produced after sometimes, but formoterol is fast acting, means as soon as you consume the drug the action will be produced immediately. That means formoterol is not only long acting but it is also fast acting, but salmeterol, it is only long acting and slow acting. So salmeterol can be used only and only for the prophylaxis purpose, whereas formoterol, it can be used for prophylaxis as well as for acute attacks of asthma. So this is regarding the beta-2 sympathomimetic drugs. Next, coming to anticholinergic drugs. Anticholinergics. So these drugs mainly act by blocking M3 receptor, because of which bronchodilation will be produced. So drugs coming under this class are ipratropium bromide, and tiotropium bromide. Okay, this is a second line drug. Initially or first line drug or first option is mainly given to beta-2 sympathomimetic drugs. Suppose there is a problem like the person is hypertensive or he is suffering from any heart related problem, and under that circumstances we cannot give beta-2 sympathomimetic agent, and under those circumstances we may opt for anticholinergic drugs. Okay, condition where beta-2 sympathomimetics are contraindicated, under that situation only we are using anticholinergics. As such we are using this only, but when these drugs cannot be consumed we are opting for anticholinergics. We have got another class of drugs known as methylxanthines. The drug mainly coming under this class are theophylline. Okay, so theophylline and its compounds have been extensively used in asthma but are now mainly restricted to COPD treatment. Okay, so thiophalline or any other kind of methylxanthines are now no more used in the treatment of asthma. Previously it was used in the treatment of asthma, but now presently it is mainly used in the treatment of COPD. Okay, so this was about bronchodilators. We can use either beta-2 sympathomimetics or anticholinergics. We are basically preferring preference is given to beta 2 sympathomimetics, but conditions where the person is contraindicated to beta 2 agonistic agent, under those circumstances we should opt for anticholinergic drugs. Next, coming to the second class of drug, and our second class of drug are leukotriene antagonists. Drugs coming under this class are montelukast and zarfirlukast. Just two drugs. So what they are doing, they are antagonizing the leukotriene receptor. So these leukotriene receptor, it may be present on your bronchioles, and when these leukotrienes come and bind with these receptor, it will still more increase the bronchoconstriction, mucus secretion, and all those symptoms of asthma. So what these montelukast or zarfirlukast are doing, they are antagonizing this receptor, so that even if leukotrienes are being released, they are failing to combine with its receptor, and when it is unable to bind with its receptor, there won't be any symptoms of asthma produced. So this is the basic use of this montelukast and zarfirlukast. Okay. So bronchodilation, reduced sputum, eosinophil count, suppress of bronchial inflammation, mucus and hyperreactivity are noted in asthma patient. Even episodes of asthma exacerbation are being reduced by these drugs. So both this montelukast and zarfirlukast are mainly indicated for prophylactic therapy of mild to moderate asthma. So this was about the second class of drug. Now coming to the third class of drug which can be used are corticosteroids. Okay. So what these corticosteroids are doing, they are inhibiting the formation of arachidonic acid so that there won't be any synthesis of leukotrienes. So basically you can say it is mainly used for a prophylactic purpose. So these glucocorticoids are again of two types. First one is systemic and another one is inhalational. So depending upon the route of administration, we have got systemic corticosteroids. So drugs coming under systemic corticosteroids are hydrocortisone, next we have got prednisolone, and other glucocorticoids. So another class of corticosteroids are inhalational. Drugs coming under this class are beclomethasone, fluticasone, cyclisonide, okay, and various other examples are also there. So basically these are the two classes of corticosteroids. So corticosteroids are mainly, you can say it can be used for prophylaxis purpose. Okay, so these corticosteroids, these are not bronchodilators. They mainly benefit by inhibiting the inflammation production. They also reduce the bronchial hyperreactivity, mucosal edema, and suppresses the inflammatory responses to antigen antibody reaction. It is realized that asthma is primarily an inflammatory disorder which, if not controlled, may accentuate with time, as well as the availability of inhaled corticosteroids that produces few adverse effects has led to early introduction and more extensive use of corticosteroids in asthma. So corticosteroids, they mainly afford more complete and sustained symptomatic relief than bronchodilators and other drugs. They mainly improve airflow, they reduce the asthma exacerbation and may influence airway remodeling, retarding the disease progression. Okay, so basically you can say it can be used for prophylaxis. A very best prophylaxis for asthma is your corticosteroids. Next, after corticosteroid, the fourth class of drug that can be used for treating asthma is mast cell stabilizers. So the fourth class is mast cell stabilizer. So the name only says it stabilizes. What it stabilizes? It stabilizes the mast cells. When the mast cells are being stabilized, then what will happen? Even if there is antigen antibody reaction, the mast cell will be strong enough and it won't be broken down, leading to release of, means not releasing any kind of inflammatory mediators. So these are mast cell stabilizers. The drugs coming under this class of mast cell stabilizers are sodium chromoglycate and ketotifen. So we have got sodium chromoglycate. And another drug is ketotifen. Okay, so these are mast cell stabilizer. And fifth and the last class of drug that can be used in the treatment of asthma is anti-IgE antibodies. These antibodies are nothing but IgE antibody. So we want a drug which is against this antibody. So we have got anti-IgE antibody. Fifth, anti-IgE antibody. And the drug coming under this class is omalizumab. Omalizumab. So what is this omalizumab? Omalizumab is a monoclonal antibody against this IgE. Okay, since it is a monoclonal antibody, means it is mainly administered via subcutaneous route. So what will happen when we take omalizumab? It will neutralize these IgE antibodies, so that even if antigen gets inside our body, it is unable to interact with this antigen, and when there is no antigen antibody reaction, means there is no question of bursting up of this mast cell and release of inflammatory mediators. So we have got these 5 classes of drugs that can be used in the treatment of bronchial asthma.